35. 35 has fractions involved, so we need to get rid of the fractions first. So the first thing we need to do is look at our denominators and the different ones. So we have a 4 and a 5. So you multiply those together to figure out what you need to multiply both sides, so to get rid of the fractions. So 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm going to multiply the left side by 20 and the right side by 20. Alright, now when we do that, if you're not real great with fractions, this fraction right here is 1/4. So it's 20 times 1/4, which is 5. So this is going to leave me with 5x. Okay, so I have 5x here. And then we're going to multiply 20 times 3/5. So 20 times 3 divided by 5. And that's 12. So plus 12. And then on the other side, same thing. 20 times 1/5 and then 20 times 2. So 20 times 1/5 is 4. So that's going to give us 4x. And then 20 times 2 is 40. So now it looks just like the problems we were working before. Again, if you can save some time if you cancel out, like 4 goes into 20 5 times, 5 goes into 20 4 times, and so then 4 times 3 is 12. Here, 5 goes into 20 4 times, and then 2 times 20. So if you do it that way, it'll save you a little bit of time. You don't have to punch it all in the calculator. All right, so now we're just going to get the x's on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So I have x plus 12 equals 40. And then subtract 12 from both sides. So x equals 28. And again, you can plug this, the x over 4 plus 3/5 into L, or to y1, and then the x over 5 plus 2 into y2, and see where they cross. All right, the next two are inequalities. We can work these the same way if you are working them where you move the smaller variable. If you do it that way, then there's really no difference in how we solve. So here I have this whole numerator divided by 5 and then this whole numerator divided by 2. So I can just cross multiply. So we have 2 times negative 2x plus 9 is less than or equal to, and then 5 times 3x minus 4. Alright, so just distribute. So that's negative 4x plus 18 is less than or equal to 15x minus 20. Now this is where you can work it two different ways from this point. I always get rid of my smallest variable. If I do that, then my coefficient of my variable is always going to be positive. And if it's positive, I won't have to worry about dividing by a negative and having to flip the inequality. So that's just my preference. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll show you if you did it the other way. So negative 4 is smaller than 15, so I'm going to add 4x to both sides. So 18 less than or equal to 19x minus 20. And then I'm going to add 20 to both sides. So 38 less than or equal to 19x, and then divide both sides by 19. Make sure x is on the right, so make sure you write it there. And then this is 2. Now if I flip it around so that I put the variable on the right, then I'll have x is greater than or equal to 2. So right now it's pointing to the 2, so I have to make sure it stays pointing to the 2. So because it has the line under it, it's going to be a closed circle at 2. And it's greater than, so we're going to go this way. Now, if I had done it the other way, I would have subtracted 15. I would have ended up with negative 19 over here and negative 38 on this side. So these would have been flipped around and they would have been negatives. And then when I divided by negative 19, when you divide by negative, that would have flipped this around. So I would have ended up with the same answer, this answer right here, if I had done it by just moving by subtracting the 15. All right, and then 37. We're going to distribute. If you want to draw your line, I didn't put it on the last one, but it goes where the inequality is, or the equal sign. This 4 is not what is in front of the parentheses. What's in front of the parentheses is a -1. So if you want to write that in, that might help you so you'll know what you're supposed to distribute. It's not the 4 that we're distributing, it's the -1. So the 4 stays what it is. So that's 4, and the -1 times x is -1x, and -1 times 3 is -3. And then distribute that. That gives me 3x minus 15. And then we just work it out. I'm going to combine like terms over here. So it's -1x. You could put x if you want. And then get rid of my smaller variable. Again, it's over here. So I'm going to add 1x. You know what, let me work it the other way. That way you'll see what I meant about flipping the inequality. So if I move the 3x, I would subtract 3x. So it's going to give me -4x plus 1 is greater than -15. And then I'm going to just keep working it like I would, minus 1. So -4x is greater than -16. And then the last step is to divide by a negative. Well, the rule is when you divide an inequality, divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality. So this is going to be x is less than 4. Now, I would have got the same answer if I had added 1 to both sides and then added 15. It would have been flipped around like this one was, but I could have just turned it around. So that's just, like I said, a personal preference. A lot of students forget to flip the inequality when they divide by a negative. So if you're always moving the smallest one, then you won't have to worry about that step. Okay, so now we're going to graph it. We don't have the bar underneath here, so it's going to be an open circle at 4. So I'm just going to put it underneath. And it's less than, so these numbers are less than 4. So when it has the bar under it, we make it closed. When it doesn't, we leave it open.